I carry a lot more than these blades. Of course I can fight. I grew up with 4 siblings.
God gets this!
We are the only masters of our fate. True ice, true aim. Care to dance?
First blood.
A+ accuracy.
Double kill.
Harm no
An
one.
ally has been slain. An ally has been slain.
Ours is the land of magic, and that is worth dying for. Time to find my own. Father, Mother, Zelos, Oma, Own, Kai, Little Rue. None of them ever had a chance. I have walked the silver plains and fished the rivers of grass. The land knows me. I never meant to leave. I fought, and they followed. No room for error. This dance kills despots.
Double kill. An ally has been slain.
Never stop learning. There's always a form you don't know. Their weapons are great, but our will is greater.
An enemy has been slain. An enemy has been slain.
My Oma always said I had only feet.
Has slain an enemy.
Blood pools on ice. The voices of my brothers still carry on the wind. Growing where I strange power works through me, I do not know.
An ally has been
They came
slain.
for our magics. They'll pay with their lives.
Rampage.
The frost gave me life. Now it takes it. I know they'll be back. The cold? Enough for me. They thought they could tame our land.
Double kill.
I really should have stretched first.
Has been slain. Slain an enemy. You have been slain. Turret plating will soon fall. Unstoppable. An enemy has been slain.
It appears my dance continues. I do not want anything. I don't want
Rampage.
It's all in the foot.
Your turret has been destroyed. Shut down.
Stay watchful. Stay prepared. Look, a dance partner. Two world lift. Time to find to live under a boot is not to die. I just love the blood pools on ice. Be the leader they need.
Your turret has been destroyed.
On your toes. I move to unsung melodies and unbeaten rhythms. None can do what I do, so I will do it. I remember when I danced for fun.
An enemy has been slain.
We must stay moving. Keep them. If they kill me, they'll still have to fight the
An
land.
enemy has been slain. Your team has destroyed a turret. An ally has been slain. Rampage.
Do we want to be safe or free? The choice is ours. Separates us for good reason. You've got lead.
An enemy has been slain. Your team has destroyed a turret. An ally has been slain.
I just love the way blood pools on ice. Alone at last. I'll make the most of it. They didn't kill us all. Show them no weakness. You do not know burden until you've seen 1,000 people hanging on your every word.
An enemy has been slain. Dominating.
Freedom has a demanding rhythm. I am not unfriendly. I am warm and caring. When no one's around, I dance for myself.
Hear the music.
Live today like you're going to die tomorrow.
Killing spree.
Stay ready. There's no need to get ready. This I never. Just like our will.
Hot, hot, hot!
Father, Mother, zealous, all my own. Little Rue. None of them ever had a chance. This feeling revives me. I will not disappoint. I did not like my own sanity. I don't want her to see this slaughter. Dance with what brought you. In this case, Blade. Where they fell, freedom grew. They'll know me as the last to lay down her
You have slain an enemy. Double kill. Aced.
I just love the way blood pools on ice. Give them no foothold!
Killing spree. Legendary.
Hot, hot, hot!
Legendary.
Perfect.
Your team has destroyed a turret.
This is far from over. We have not yet begun to fight. I have walked the ice plains and fished the rivers of ice. The ice knows me.
Double kill.
It's us or them. I am both the Trent
Has destroyed.
just love the way blood pools on ice. A single pebble may sink a warship, and 1,000 pebbles. Peace requires 2 microseconds.
An enemy has been slain. An ally has been slain. Legendary.
Hope they brought armor and a sweater.
Shut down.
I've never
Your team
killed.
has destroyed a turret. An enemy has been slain. A summoner has disconnected.
Really what it does is just order and organize before we jump into the talk. So we are a Switzerland-based foundation in Zug, Switzerland, also known as Crypto Valley, and we are a nonprofit foundation, a Stiftung, in the words in the German, we're dedicated to nurturing cryptographic technologies that are going to help decentralize the web, preserve privacy, and keep power in the hands of the users. The one particular project that we have been very focused on lately is Polkadot. And so before I talk about our hybrid consensus model, I want to explain from a very high level what Polkadot is, how it differs from other blockchain technologies out there, and then specifically why our choice of consensus model is so important for what we are trying to do with Polkadot. So Polkadot, from a conceptual level, looks kind of like this. We have a central relay chain, which is a very simple blockchain. It doesn't have any smart contract capabilities or anything. Really what it does is just order and organize these parachains that do the actual work. So when you think about using, for instance, a smart contract or a value transfer or anything like that, then you should really be thinking of one of these shards, or as we call them, parachains. So these shards differ from some of the shards you may see in something like Ethereum 2.0 because our parachains are heterogeneous. That is, different parachains can have different capabilities. So you may have a smart contract chain, you may have a privacy-preserving chain, you may have a chain that's optimized for gaming, etc. But all of these can actually communicate with each other as well as share the security of the entire network. So this differs from other inter-blockchain communication systems like Cosmos in that all of these different parachains, all of these different shards, are actually sharing the same security model. They're not as independent. The relay chain holds basically the state of the parachains. Again, it does some other things, but
Bill is the technical education lead for the Web3 Foundation at Zug, where he helps people understand blockchain technology. He's also a lecturer, currently on leave of absence for the computer science department at the University of Pittsburgh after 15 years in the software industry. He frequently speaks at conferences on a variety of topics, including blockchain technology, improving software quality, and the ethics of software development. He's the author of 2 books, A Friendly Introduction to Software Testing, an undergraduate textbook, and Strength in Numbers, a near-future novel set in a world in which cryptocurrencies entirely eliminated traditional money. I suppose that is still a bit of a sci-fi notion at the moment, but let's see if we can bring it closer to reality. Thanks, Bill.
All right, thank you. And based on that talk, maybe it wasn't sci-fi enough compared to Hyperbarter that we had discussed earlier. So thank you, everyone, for showing up as power in the hands of the users. So Polkadot, from a conceptual level, looks kind of like this. We have a central relay chain, which is a very simple blockchain. It doesn't have any smart contract capabilities or anything. Really, what it does is just order and organize these parachains that do the actual work. So when you think about using, for instance, a smart contract or a value transfer or anything like that, then you should really be thinking of one of these shards, or as we call them, parachains. So these shards differ from some of the shards you may see in something like Ethereum 2.0 because our parachains are heterogeneous. That is, different parachains can have different capabilities. So you may have a smart contract chain, you may have a privacy-preserving chain, you may have a chain that's optimized for gaming, etc. But all of these can actually communicate with each other as well as share the security of the entire network. So this differs from other inter-blockchain communication systems like Cosmos in that all of these different parachains, all of these different shards are actually sharing the same security model. They're not as independent. The relay chain holds basically the state of the parachains. Again, it does some other things, but again, it's relatively simple. Secured via nominated proof of stake, which is a proof of stake system where it's similar to delegated proof of stake, except that you as a nominator, someone who is sending your stake to a validator, your stake can also be slashed, and so people have to be wary of who they validate. So the validators, we have a number of machines that are in charge of producing blocks. These are the top N stake getters. So there is a limited number of systems that can produce blocks. So a finite number. This number is modifiable. And what we see right now, we actually can have, since we have on-chain governance, it's actually very similar to Tezos. We can have users decide and vote on what the ideal number of validators should be. In our Canary network, which is our initial unaudited version of Polkadot that's been running since August of 19, we have right now 180 validators. However, this number can be moved up and down. These validators are going to be the nodes that actually produce and finalize blocks. They do have some other responsibilities, such as communicating with these parachains that I'm not really going to touch upon. But just know, for the purposes of this talk, these validators, this finite number of validators, are going to be the ones actually creating blocks. They're the ones we're talking about. All right, so again, at a very high level, what we want is a system that can have many different heterogeneous shards, different parachains in our parlance, that can run semi-independently, yet share information with other parachains on the network, as well as share security. We also want to be able to communicate with other blockchains out there. We don't want to have us just be a larger silo. The goal of having Polkadot is to remove silos, and if we're just making it a bigger silo, well, that's good, right? It's a step in the right direction, but we really want to be revolutionary as opposed to evolutionary. So one of the things that we want to do is be able to send data and receive data from these other blockchains. Right now, we're working on what we call bridges, so these bridges to Ethereum, Zcash, and Bitcoin. So all of these are still under work, but they will, once we have them working, be basically virtual parachains. So you'll be able to interact with these systems just as if they were another parachain. So
So many try to flee their burdens. Fleeing is impossible. Storm of blades! Relinquish your burdens! peace. Long before blades and sorcery are needed, words can save the soul. Steel Gale! Every time it's no less strange, nor less painful. A broken heart, an anxious mind, all can attract the Azakana.
An ally has been slain. Double kill. An ally has been slain.
You can't flee your fear!
Within my grasp.
The road to ruin. Azakana lurk everywhere. And their deception.
Shut down.
Gale! They always resist with them. Signing! With an
You have been slain.
I claim
now? Aren't you a haunted one?
Enemy has been slain. Enemy killing spree. Killing spree. Shut down.
Not so fast!
harvest the worthy.
Not enough to stop me.
Iron stands eternal.
This Azakana on my face knew me. I'm not here for you.
An ally has been slain.
Future.
Rampage.
I'm not here to save their souls. 'Cause vaunted cower behind polite.
Turret plating will soon fall. Double kill.
Between uncertainty and fear, the Azakana
Your team has destroyed a turret.
weak. I thought death would grant me peace. How naive. Every aspect of an Azakana is a stroke. Each stroke forms a character, revealing their true name. Piercing winds! It walked on 4 legs and spoke of dreams.
Enemy has been slain. Dominating. Your turret has been destroyed. Enemy has been slain. Triple kill. An ally has been slain.
I do what must be done.
Your team has destroyed a turret.
Face beneath. Respite to return to sealed. The spirit realm is strange. A mirror, an inverse of our own. Your remedy.
Shut down.
Rare is the person who shows
An ally has been slain.
me.
You have been slain.
Back to the hunt. Honor once bound me above all else. Bound to the world of the living. Denied the peace of death. Storm of blades! Africana abound. Some days, I forget what lies behind this mask.
An ally has been slain. Your team has destroyed a turret. An enemy has been slain. Your team has destroyed a turret. A summoner has disconnected.
That's the basic idea of what Polkadot is. And it turns out that some of the traditional consensus models, consensus mechanisms that were used are not very well suited to this system. So we came up with this concept of hybrid consensus. So we do want to have finality. So we want to have provable finality in our systems. And as you probably know, using a classic system like a blockchain system like Bitcoin, you've got probabilistic finality. That there is no way to prove that there is not some longer chain out there with more work, but rather we can use proof of work, and then it becomes astronomically unlikely that there is some other system, some other chain out there that has more proof of work on it. There are mechanisms already out there that have provable finality, for example, Tendermint, but it turns out these have a very big drawback. They're vulnerable to stalling. If you don't have, we can call it a system. So we came up with this concept of hybrid consensus. So we do want to have finality. So we want to have provable finality in our systems. And as you probably know, using a classic system like a blockchain system like Bitcoin, you've got probabilistic finality. That there is no way to prove that there is not some longer chain out there with more work, but rather we can use proof of work, and then it becomes astronomically unlikely that there is some other system, some other chain out there that has more proof of work on it. There are mechanisms already out there that have provable finality, for example, Tendermint, but it turns out these have a very big drawback. They're vulnerable to stalling. If you don't have a large enough number, or percentage rather, of the validators or validator equivalents on these systems, then your system can't be live. You can't progress without some sort of hard fork or some manual intervention once you get below 2/3 of the validators online. So we could work with this sort of system, but we've also found that because we have this interaction with other blockchains, we want to be able to have this non-siloed interaction with these other blockchains, we may occasionally need to revert blocks. So for instance, if some other blockchain there's a man-in-the-middle attack and we get an invalid block, we don't want to have that, or, oh, that's already finalized, you can't go back on it. So we do need to occasionally revert blocks that have been recently added. So ideally, once you get, so we do want to have finality. So we want to have provable finality in our systems. And as you probably know, using a classic system like a blockchain system like Bitcoin, you've got probabilistic finality. That there is no way to prove that there is not some longer chain out there with more work, but rather we can use proof of work, and then it becomes astronomically unlikely that there is some other system, some other chain out there that has more proof of work on it. There are mechanisms already out there that have provable finality, for example, Tendermint, but it turns out these have a very big drawback. They're vulnerable to stalling. If you don't have a large enough percentage rather, of the validators or validator equivalents on these systems, then your system can't be live. You can't progress without some sort of hard fork or some manual intervention once you get below 2/3 of the validators. So we could work with this sort of system, but we've also found that because we have this interaction with other blockchains, we want to be able to have this non-siloed interaction with these other blockchains, we may occasionally need to revert blocks. So for instance, if some other blockchain there's a man-in-the-middle attack and we get an invalid block, we don't want to have that, or, oh, that's already finalized, you can't go back on it. So we do need to occasionally revert blocks that have been recently added. So ideally what we wanted was a system where block production would always occur, we could revert, but eventually we could have provable finality, that we could prove to others that were not part of the system that this is the canonical chain, right? Even if you're not involved in it, even if you're not running a full node, and make it much easier in the middle attack and we get an invalid block. But rather we can use proof of work, and then it becomes astronomically unlikely that there is some other system, some other chain out there that has more proof of work on it. There are mechanisms already out there that have provable finality, for example, Tendermint, but it turns out these have a very big drawback. They're vulnerable to stalling. If you don't have a large enough percentage rather, of the validators or validator equivalents on these systems, then your system can't be live. You can't progress without some sort of hard fork or some manual intervention once you get below 2/3 of the validators online. So we could work with this sort of system, but we've also found that because we have this interaction with other blockchains, we want to be able to have this non-siloed interaction with these other blockchains, we may occasionally need to revert blocks. So for instance, if some other blockchain, there's a man-in-the-middle attack and we get an invalid block, we don't want to have that, or, oh, that's already finalized, you can't go back on it. So we do need to occasionally revert blocks that have been recently added. So ideally what we wanted was a system where block production would always occur, we could revert, but eventually we could have provable finality, that we could prove to others that were not part of the system that this is the canonical chain, right? Even if you're not involved in it, even if you're not running a full node, and make it much easier to interact with all these other blockchains out there. Again, because they would not be directly a party to us, we would not directly be a party to them, but if we have provable finality, then we can prove that, all right, this is the right chain that you should be, canonical chain you should be reading from. So what we came up with, and when I say we, I feel like I don't really deserve to be part of the people. Some really smart people came up, some of our researchers, with this concept of hybrid consensus. So this gives us the best of both worlds. Block production is always going to continue as long as at least one validator is online. It will always be live. So blocks will always be produced. So we have one system for that, for block production. However, finalization, similar to like Casper, is done via a separate finalization gadget. So if we think about blocks being produced, we have block 1, block 2, block 3, block 4. I like to think of as sort of someone, a checker or a watchman following behind a few blocks looking to say, okay, this one's good, this one's good. So as we're producing blocks 3, 4, 5, that checker is back at 0, 1, 2, a few blocks behind and finalizing our blocks. In ideal circumstances, this differentiation, this delta of time between when a block is produced and when it's finalized, it's actually rather fast. So generally, a few blocks is what we see empirically, which since we have a 6-second block time in our canary network, we're seeing about 20 to 30 seconds to finalization.
Welcome
Again, these are in ideal
Summoner's
circumstances.
Rift.
If there are some issues, we can delay finalization while checks are done. So for instance, if we get conflicting information about what the current state of a parachain is, we have multiple nodes communicating with us, and one said that situation A happened, another said situation B happened, it may take a while before we can finalize on what the correct version of that is. So we actually can continue producing blocks, others can work and produce blocks and do transactions and all that stuff, but we hold off on finalization until all our ducks are in a row, that all of the parachains have given us valid data. In the event of really severe network partitioning or some other sort of Byzantine failure, malicious attack, then block production can continue indefinitely, even if a large chunk of validators fall off or are being malicious. And actually, when we talk about grandpa, we'll see how this is the case. Once we do figure out a canonical chain, once this network partitioning has been healed, once enough validators get kicked off, we actually can very rapidly bring finalization up to speed. So we don't have to wait for block by block finalization. We can zoom ahead and finalize a huge number of blocks at once. We've actually seen this for real in our network with tens of thousands of blocks, and it can take, in under a minute, we'd be caught back up again with finalization. However,
Freedom has a demanding rhythm.
Your false gods cannot save me.
This ice never melts, just like our will.
Within my grasp.
Really should have stretched first. Oh well.
First love.
Plus accuracy.
An enemy has been slain.
Ours
An
is the
ally
land
has been slain.
that is worth dying for.
You have been slain.
Harvest the worthy. Discard the chaff.
The steward revives me.
An enemy
will
has
not
been
disappoint.
slain. Killing spree.
The cold? That never bothered me.
An enemy has been slain.
You'll rue this day. I have walked the ice plains and fished the rivers of ice. Knows me.
You have slain an enemy.
I just love the way blood pools on ice.
An enemy has been slain.
Break. Stay
An
composed.
enemy has been slain.
We must prevail. Look sharp. If they capture me, they'll kill me.
You have been slain. An enemy has been slain.
calm yourself. Can't
An
let them
ally has been slain.
I never meant to lead. I fought, and they followed. On your toes, two. You do not know the connection between 1,000 people hanging on your every word. Leave none alone!
Killing spree.
Peace must sometimes be
Has been slain. Killing spree. Rampage.
It appears my dance continues.
Your team has destroyed a turret. Turret plating will soon fall.
Step with me. I just love the way blood pools on ice. Eyes up!
Enemy has been slain.
I will be.
Rampage.
I have walked the silver plains and fished the rivers of grass. The land knows me.
Shut down. Shut down. Killing spree. Your team has destroyed a turret.
Need to get my ring.
An ally has been slain. Your team has destroyed a turret.
Act, and the whole world will move. Lick. There's a saying, never fight iron on your own sword.
Enemy double kill.
Dance with what brought you. In this case, blades.
An enemy has been slain. An ally has been slain.
I hate him.
Remember what's been lost. Fight for what hasn't been.
An enemy has been slain. Shut down. You have slain an enemy.
Fools on ice. Harm no one.
An ally has been slain. An enemy has been slain.
This is far from over. We have not yet begun to fight.
You have slain an enemy. Your team has destroyed a turret.
I just love the way blood pools on ice. Do we want to be safe or free? The choice is ours. Ionia is our only hope.
Ally has been slain. Double kill.
The spirit revives me. I will not disappoint.
Shut down. Double kill.
Of course I can fight. I grew up with 4 siblings. My form was off. Can't let them see.
Your turret has been destroyed. Your inhibitor has been destroyed.
Be the leader here.
Shut down.
They didn't kill us all.
Enemy double kill.
They brought armor and a sweater.
Your turret has been destroyed.
Never stop learning. There's always a form you don't know. I move to unsung melodies and unbeaten rhythms. I am not unfriendly. I am a warm and caring.
An enemy has been slain.
Is not
You have been slain. Your team has destroyed a turret. turret has been destroyed.
This is far from over. We have not yet begun to fight. We are the children of the First Lands, and we will not be slaves. I did not light my Oma's lantern. I don't want her to see the smoke.
An enemy has been slain.
Bring down the hammer.
This feeling revives me. I will not disappoint. No room for error. I am both betrayed and
Shut down. A summoner has disconnected.
Bodies are free.
Your turret has been destroyed. Your turret has been destroyed. An enemy has been slain. Your inhibitor is respawning soon.
Theoretically, we should be able to do millions of blocks. So why do we do this? Obviously hybrid consensus, and as we go through this, you'll see it's a little bit complicated. Has a lot of wrinkles to it in creating a canonical chain and coming up with the best chain rule. But this does allow us to always remain live, always allows parachains that may not be affected. If parachain A is causing problems, this shouldn't hurt parachains B and C from interacting with each other. By having our messaging system be able to continue running, since this is bounded by block production time, not finalization time, it allows us to have fast message passing and reliable message passing. It also allows liveness, even as long as one validator is producing blocks. And this will give us probabilistic finality, but at least we have some sort of quote-unquote finality. So the two mechanisms that we do use for this are Babe and Grandpa. So Babe, I like to think of Babe is the baby. It's crawling ahead, and Grandpa is the one chasing behind it, finalizing things. So Babe is blind assignment for blockchain extension. This is similar to Ouroboros Praus. Validators are going to randomly select themselves to decide when to produce a block. They're selected by the amount of stake. And again, this is just for block production. There is a simple best chain rule that we'll see that can be overridden by Grandpa. So Grandpa, Ghost-based Recursive Ancestor Deriving Prefix Agreement, you can tell we love our acronyms at Web3, is going to finalize blocks separately. Again, a block must be produced by Babe first. The baby needs to be crawling ahead, but can finalize for these older blocks. So again, a few steps back from the head. So just as a quick graphic of what this looks like, we'll have a chain between Genesis and some point that we have finalized with Grandpa. But after that, there may be some forks, and we'll have to come up with a chain rule to figure these out before Grandpa finalizes them. So let's talk about Babe and block production. So Babe is a proof-of-stake protocol. One of the interesting things that differentiates it from others, it does have this concept of time, but does not actually use a centralized clock. All of the nodes together actually come up with a time together. In order to understand Babe, we need to understand these concepts of slots and epochs. So a slot is just a n-second period of time where a block may or may not be produced. So we're going to separate time into these discrete quanta of slots. Some number of slots constitute an epoch. And what we're going to do is use those epochs to get randomness in chunks for coming epochs. So got a beautiful animation here. Right, so let's talk about flip together. In order to understand one of the let's talk about Babe and block production. So Babe is a proof-of-stake protocol. One of the interesting things that differentiates it from others, it does have this concept of time, but does not actually use a centralized clock. All of the nodes together actually come up with a time together. In order to understand Babe, we need to understand these concepts of slots and epochs. So a slot is just a n-second period of time where a block may or may not be produced. So we're going to separate time into these discrete quanta of slots. Some number of slots constitute an epoch. And what we're going to do is use those epochs to get randomness in chunks for coming epochs. So got a beautiful animation here. Right, so we get randomness, and at each slot, all the validators are going to run a verifiable random function. So a function that is going to, using the randomness from previous epochs, determine whether or not they're going to produce a block. This is similar to a standard like Bitcoin hashing until proof of work, hashing until you get below a certain value, except we're just going to throw the dice one time. We're going to see, hey, I'm going to randomly roll a die. Did I get less than a certain value? If so, I can produce a block. Otherwise, I won't. Because this is the case, you'll notice that sometimes multiple validators are going to produce a block with it. We saw that. You could have a fork, right? You could have validator 1 and validator 3, for instance, produce a block, and then you're going to have to decide which one to follow. You also notice that sometimes you don't have any blocks produced during a slot. So we'll come back to that in a bit. So for the first few epochs, we have to pass in some randomness. Further randomness, though, is taken from the previous epochs. Based on, again, it is pseudo-random, so you're going to get a lot of, but we're going to concatenate all of the different VRF outputs, the verifiable random function outputs, together. So this should be so difficult to compute that we can't actually use this to try to do any sort of attack based on knowing which validator is going to be producing a block next. Otherwise, you could DDoS that particular validator to try to knock them offline, and perhaps keep doing that to all the different validators. So there are a couple of keys in Babe. So we call them session keys. Basic public key cryptography here, private key and a public key. But we're going to use these keys for some different things. The first is our block signing key. So this is just a way for us to provide a cryptographic signature that, all right, we validate this block. We're going to produce and validate this block, and you know it comes from me because I have signed it with my private key. You can verify with my public key that it's been generated and produced by me. Sort of the interesting thing, I think, the twist to this is the lottery key, which is is our function for our verifiable, is our input for our verifiable random function, where we have a secret key that's going to allow us to roll the dice, but we're also going to have this public key that proves to everyone else that we, in fact, did roll the dice reliably. We didn't cheat. We can actually produce a proof for that. And we're going to let everyone know ahead of time when we join the validator set, here's our public key. You can always prove that I didn't cheat, even if you can't see behind the scenes, see my secret key and roll for me or roll ahead of me, but you'll know that I actually did it reliably and it's provably true. So a verifiable random function has a few parts. It allows us to generate some output using our secret key. then create a proof, again, using our secret key. X is our input, our randomness input, our seed. That's from previous epochs. Okay? And create a proof that others, I'm sorry, it's not displaying correctly, that last one here. We can actually get a, you have other people look at the proof. They know our public key, so with the public key and the proof, they can tell that we did, in fact, roll randomly. We're not just cheating and taking up a slot whenever we want to. So here is just, if you're interested, how we get the entropy. Again, it's from 2 epochs back. And again, this helps us prevent some sort of attacks where people would be able to modify the randomness just by if we did just in the preceding epoch. At this point, this would be several hours back in time. And we're going to be prepared for it. So again, we roll our verified dice, verified random function to get some value v. And if it
Welcome to Summoner's Rift.
Function overformed.
"30 seconds until minions spawn.
Pave the way.
Minions have spawned.
Progress is essential to survival.
An ally has been slain.
All will soon change. Constructs. I disperse the
An enemy has been slain.
submit to my designs.
You have slain an enemy.
They are obsolete. The money's afraid. Embrace progress.
An ally has been slain. An enemy has been slain.
Metal is perfection.
An ally has been slain. An enemy has been slain.
With utmost efficiency.
An enemy has been slain. Double kill.
Function over form. Submit to my designs. Destroy, then improve.
Enemy has been slain. You have been slain.
Analyzing. Embrace progress. Mentalist perfection.
An ally has been slain.
With utmost efficiency.
An ally has been slain. Enemy double kill.
No way.
An ally has been slain.
Function over form.
Your turret has been destroyed.
Analyzing approach. Metal is perfection. Adapt or be removed.
An enemy has been slain. An enemy has been slain. Double kill. An ally has been slain.
The bodies are frail.
Your team has destroyed a turret.
With utmost efficiency.
Pay no attention to the chat.
Shut down. An ally has been slain.
Ready to prowl. Oh no, we didn't
Double
make it.
kill.
The way.
An ally has been slain. Enemy double kill.
I am the first of many. Always.
Enemy killing spree. An enemy has been slain. Enemy double kill. Your team has destroyed a turret.
With utmost efficiency.
Down. Enemy killing spree.
Pay the way.
Slain. Your turret has been destroyed. Your turret has been destroyed.
Function overboard.
In my sight.
An enemy has been slain. An enemy has been slain. Enemy rampage. Killing spree.
They are obsolete. Always soon change. Submit to my designs. Analyzing approach.
Enemy is unstoppable. Shut down. Ace.
Bring down the hammer.
Enemy is dominating. Your turret has been destroyed.
With utmost efficiency. Praise progress.
turret has been destroyed.
I never quit.
Submit to my design.
Ally has been slain. Your team has destroyed a turret.
That is perfection.
An enemy has been slain. An ally has been slain.
Embrace progress. Take the win.
Has been slain. Shut down.
Always soon.
An enemy has been slain. An ally has been slain.
Analyzing approach. Submit to my designs.
An enemy has been slain.
Bring down the hammer.
Your turret has been destroyed. Your inhibitor has been destroyed.
Embrace progress.
It ends here.
That must be removed.
Ally has been slain.
With utmost efficiency.
Enemy double kill. Ace.
On to the next chase.
Your turret has been destroyed. Your turret has been destroyed.
Hardly what I'd call a
Defeat.
没有啊，等到那个期权到期，方就不会。现在他们有 动力去做空源，是因为只要比特币慢的话，他们卖期权，所以他们就贩卖你期。现在是这样子啊，你等到到时候这样子。
The glorious evolution.
It's less than our target tau here. We're going to produce a block in this slot, as well as a proof for everyone else to know that, hey, when I signed up as a validator, I told you this was my public key. I'm going to use my secret key to produce a proof that I'm in fact rolling this, and you can check with my public key that I'm following the rules. If the value that we produce from the VRF is above the target, though, we're going to collect blocks from other people. So we're going to check, hey, has anyone produced a block for this slot? If so, grab it, right? So we're just going to send it around to all the validators, communicate with all the other validators, send out this block and propagate it around the validator set. So at this point, we have a very simple best chain selection. So again, I already talked about Grandpa from a really high level. Let's ignore all of that for now. For Babe, just running by itself, which is perfectly possible to do, we have
计划加一，知行合一，码码规则重于预测。欢迎来到志哥的频道。那么在之前的课程这一期我就说过，只要比特币涨到5万上方51000，我就会去空它。在昨天的课程我也说过，我在440做空了以太坊。假设你赚到钱了，那么你给我一个点赞评论。那么接下来的话，我们接下来分享比特币和以太坊的走势，位置已经到了，价格已经到了非常关键的位置。这是我的电报群，那么15000人，那么你想加入的话，你可以在电报里面搜索 A 塔志哥 BTC 的拼音就可以免费加入我的电报群。那么当然了，你也可以点击视频下方的这个链接免费加电报群，接受 VIP 赞助服务，赞助我的会员可以获得哪些服务？看我这个视频有兴趣的朋友，视频下方有我的联系方式可以联系我。炒新币、炒合约上不上？10倍率、100倍率上不上？强烈推荐全球币种最全、新币上线最快的抹茶交易所，没有质疑需要的朋友注册。那么接下来我们分享比特币和以太坊的走势。今天中午在刚才我们的 VIP 群里面，昨天晚上我们给出了空单 ETH 止盈405，比特币止盈465。那么比特币没有打到止盈 ，ETH 已经打到了，在 ETH 打到止盈的时候，已经通知大家进行了平仓。那么接下来的话，我们来分享。首先从整个周线级别周期来看的话，比特币我依然觉得在未来的几天或者是1周，它是要去回踩4万到4万3这一个点。那么这个点才是一个非常有利的支撑点，这个位置我们就不说了。那么现在我们需要探讨的是这个点会不会涨，接下来会不会有这一波的上涨，我们需要怎么样去切入是吧？那么这是我画出来的比特币整个4小时级别周期的图表，你可以感受一下。那么在这个图表中我们可以看到空头的动能这一波非常强，是吧？随之多头的量能放出，然后呢再次空头2次量能放出，那么可以看到这一波的量能放出非常弱，非常弱。那么所以说关于它的走势我更加偏向于你看像这样，那么同时它的价格走势大概就是回调到这一个点，也就是4万7附近和我们的目标价格差不多。那么接下来反弹这一线5万到5万1附近，49500到5万1附近，然后再接着去挑战4万2500、4万这一线。那么我们怎么去操作？首先呢，我们需要探讨这个位置它的性价比，它会不会直接跌下去？那么现在的话非常稳的2个操作，你可以挂单在比特币42550进行买入。同时呢，价格上去我们在这里寻找做空的机会，这是非常稳的操作。那么这个位置我们不能进行左侧的挂单，我们需要再次去观察，满足我们的条件，我们再去交易需要使用右侧的手法，因为你使用左侧的手法很容易被骗炮，或者说直接跌下去。好，我们来看一下这组数据。那么这是比特币4小时的图表，其实。
Welcome to Summoner's Rift.
The world is watching. Stay focused.
"30 seconds until minions spawn."
With utmost efficiency.
Minions have spawned. has been slain. An ally has been slain. You have been slain.
Function overformed. Bodies are frail. All will soon change. Fade away. I am the first of many. Embrace progress. Submit to my designs. Metal is perfection. With utmost efficiency. Function overformed. Pave the way.
Killing spree.
Menacing approach.
You have been slain.
其实，在整个下跌趋势中，假设你看是1小时图表，相信你已经被骗跑了非常多次了，是吧？你看这里，哎，你觉得会涨，结果它又弹；这里你觉得会涨，你都知道它一定会涨了，是吧？不一定，我们需要采用右侧的手法。那么右侧的手法怎么样去切入？首先来看一下这组数据。那么这组数据这里不排除它会直接下来，所以我让你左侧挂单4250，下来我们就买入，就赚到这一波逆乱时。
Submit to my designs.
Turret plating will soon fall.
Function overboard.
An enemy has been slain. An ally has been slain. Enemy killing spree.
Destroy, then improve.
Has been slain.
Always.
Your turret has been destroyed.
Taste the wind.
Enemy rampage.
Boom. Headshot.
Embrace progress.
enemy has been slain.
With utmost efficiency.
Shut down.
Not so fast.
All will soon change. Good use of your surviving components. Lead the way.
An enemy has been slain. Your team has destroyed a turret.
My design.
An enemy has been slain. Double kill. Unstoppable. Killing spree. Your team has destroyed a turret.
Let's move out. Appreciated.
Function over form.
Victory!
是吧？假设上去，在后面的课程我会告诉你这里能不能做空，是吧？那么问题是这里我们就不能说是直接在现在这种情况下去杀入，我们需要继续的去观察，观察什么呢？观察的指标我们可以参考。首先这条均线叫做 EMA 和 MA 均线，你会用均线的朋友，当它价格站上均线，什么是站上？你看这差评很明显是站上失败，是吧？你看这就是站上均线，你就可以去尝试买入，好吧？你可以抓住接下来的利润。很多朋友说老师我不会用均线啊，你不会用均线简单，你画一条趋势线嘛，是吧？好，你可以画一条趋势线嘛。好，你可以画一条趋势线嘛，等它站上这条趋势线，你就可以买入嘛。接下来比特币就继续的上行高速，1500到5万1附近，你可以抓住这波逆转。后面这里能不能做空，我再讲解。挂单4万2500的话，你可以挂好嘛，是吧？好，这样的一个操作思路，我不知道你有没有听懂，非常简单。4万2500挂单买入，后面上去这里能不能做空，我再讲解。那么这里到底怎么做？非常简单，1小时级别 EMA 和 MA 均线站上去，你就可以买，好吧？价格高也没关系，没站上之前不要开玩笑，也许它还会继续跌，我们要避免这个风险。这就是右侧交易。很多朋友说什么是左侧，什么是右侧啊？百度查一下，好吧？好，接下来关注这条均线和趋势线，然后接下来我们说一下以太坊。以太坊周线级别就不说了，看一下。从整个动能周期我们可以看到，空头的动能很强，多头量能增加，空头量能这一波很明显它是放不出很强来的。那么如果你一定要问我怎么走，我这边画成了更加偏向于这样走。但是比特币和以太坊在这个位置我们需要留一手，是吧？我们要避免它啪的跌下去，所以我们需要等它1小时 EMA 和 MA 均线站上去啊！你看这就是站上了，你看这都是站上了，这都是站上了，这都是站上了。1小时收住站稳，你就可以做。一定要等它1小时收住啊！不要这根柱子啪拉上去你就立马上升，一定要等它1小时收住站稳了以后，你再有效的击穿这个均线和趋势线，你就可以上，好吧？这个位置我们要留一手。好，那么以太坊的话可以挂单在3555，比特币4250。假设它我们留一手，它跌下来没关系，我们买着你可以抓住利润。那么这里的话，以太坊同样的。如果上去的话，我们看到多少？比特币是4万全部到5万1，那么以太坊的话，4350到4450之间，对吧？这样的一个高度，到达这一线能不能做空？后面的课程我再讲。那么问题是这个点，很多朋友就说什么是左侧，什么是右侧，到底怎么搞？很简单嘛，是吧？1小时，你看 EMA 和 MA 均线一直被压制了，没有突破均线之前，一切都是空谈，是吧？只有等比特币和以太坊同时站上均线，你就可以做啊！你会画趋势线的话，你画条趋势线是吧？你不会画趋势线的话，你看连接这两点就行了嘛？你就等均线下来了，站上均线你就去做它，即使价格稍微高一点，利润少一点，但是这种下跌的环境中我们不要开玩笑，好吧？那么总结一下，首先呢，左侧挂单的话，比特币4255是吧？以太坊3555，那么下来我们就接不到没关系，这里的话我们需要观察均线1小时和趋势线站上，我们就去做它。好吧，做它什么时候出局？可以关注这条压制线，无限接近的时候就出局，出局比特的时候记得出局以太是吧？或者是当以太坊达到4450附近，你就可以同步的出局两个品种。 好，这一条均线和趋势线，如果你这样说你还拿捏不准，那就没办法。在这样特殊的空头主宰市场多头挨揍的情况下，我们需要尽量的在没有万级规模的支撑、强有力支撑的情况下，我们尽量的右侧交易，好吧？能听懂吗？相信你能听懂。好，电报群点这里免费加 VIP 赞助服务，有兴趣的朋友看完视频视频下面联系方式可以联系我。如果你说我拿捏不稳这个点，哎，加我 VIP 群我教你是吧？我给你拿捏就稳了。好，炒新币炒黑上抹茶，强烈推荐群主币种之前新币上线最快的抹茶交易所没有之一。下节课可以不见不散。
各位同学，大家好，我是丁武老师。在上一回咱们介绍了人工智能的基本概念和算法，为大家介绍了 TU 加降算法、机器学习和神经网络的基本概念。有个小朋友就跟我说呀，他下载了一个人工智能软件，可以通过拍照的方法来识别物体。我还特意试了一下这个软件，发现呢，这个软件不光能够识别出我们家的狗，还能认出狗的类型。
维老师科技。
大家知道计算机是如何进行图像识别的吗？那今天呢，我们就来介绍一下在图像识别里面最流行的一种算法——卷积神经网络。为了介绍卷积神经网络呢，我们首先呢，先来介绍一下视觉的原理。人和动物如何能够把看到的图像转化成他脑中的一个概念，比如这个是猫，那个是狗的呢？我们知道啊，计算机呢实际上是把一幅图转化成一大堆的数字，对吧？然后通过训练呢，就可以知道这些数字代表一个什么。